Students of Bright Senior High School at Kukurintumi in the Eastern Region on Thursday also attacked officials of the West African Examination Council supervising the ongoing WASSCE examination in their school. Well, the Daily Graphic in the region, who had gone to the school to report, has also been brutally assaulted by the students, leaving him with severe injuries. Some WAEC officials present alleged their phones were smashed as they were assaulted.
Yeah, I just wanted to come and see something. Yes.
We apologize for the loss of audio. Try and get it back for you. But calm was restored only after the police were called in. The agitated students, realizing the police had left, attacked Emmanuel Pacom, a reporter with the Daily Graphic, when he was spotted filming the incident. He has since lodged a complaint with the Kukurintumi police station and has been issued with a hospital form. Well, let's now...
Oh, no, not sure.
The headmaster. Yes, he's calling. He started calling Accra in other places.
I was yeah, but you are adverts, no?
He wasn't around, so it's the deputy that I spoke to.
Okay. We'll bring it to the front page tomorrow. Because it's not a trending subject to a C examination.
Yeah.
But you're good. No.
Let's get on Zoom, where our Eastern Region correspondent Kofi Sian will be joining us. We'll also be joined by the Vice President of NAGRAT, Richard ANABA, and the Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Yaw Adutwum, on the matter. Let's begin with our correspondent in the Eastern Region, Kofi Sian. Kofi, what are the school authorities saying about this incident? All right, so Kofi Sian will join us later. Let me bring in the Vice President of NAGRAT, Richard ANABA. Richard, many are surprised about this development. They say it's alien to our WASSCE over the years. What's your own assessment of this development? Hello, Mr. ANABA, you are on Joynews Prime. Mr. ANABA, can you kindly unmute for me?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. ANABA. Great.
Good evening. I'm Jacob. I'm not Richard. Good evening, my minister and your cherished listeners. This is actually alien to our educational system. We find it very unfortunate things like this happening this time that government is doing its best to help the students, taking into cognizance the numbers involved. But one thing that is gratifying is that the students didn't complain of the teachers not preparing them well for the WASSCE. Their complaints are hinged on 3 areas. One, they said that the past questions that were given to them, they expected the answers from, or the questions from the past questions. And then secondly, they complained about the distance between the candidates in the examination hall. And then lastly, they complained about the strictness of invigilators. In fact, I have perused the integrated science question that they just wrote. All the questions are past questions. I'm surprised my students are saying that the questions that they wrote are not coming from past questions. There's no alien question. But, and the questions were very, very simple. What comes to mind from the onset what I just said, that the teachers have prepared the students have failed to learn. So the students must know that examination is for those who are ready. You must prepare, you must work hard. You don't go into examination hoping that somebody somewhere will help you out. They talked about distance. WAIC, over the years, have been using 1.4 meters. They just added a 0.1. I don't see that to be a strange occurrence for them to be complaining. And then the invigilators. How do you go to an examination and don't expect to go by the rules? And the invigilators have rules that govern the work they do in the examination hall. And I will be shocked if teachers will not go by rules. In fact, it is the Kukrantumi issue which is worrying. It's a disturbing issue, and I know my minister will speak to that issue.
We've been joined shortly, thankfully, by the Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Yaw Adutwum. I'll come to you briefly, but also the Ghana National Teachers Association General Secretary, Thomas MUSA, has also joined us. Thomas, I'm curious to know, this is actually alien. I mean, over the years, we've not witnessed such a situation before. You must be disappointed, I guess. Thomas MUSA. All right, so let me go back to Dr. Adutwum as we try to get Thomas on the line. I'm told Thomas is back. Thomas, I'm asking what you make of this situation, especially as we've not witnessed this, you know, over the years.
Yeah, please, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you and your listeners. I think that I am very, very sad this evening, particularly looking at the video footage and the turn of events. Government has invested millions of cedis into these particular students. And in fact, if you look at the 2020 budget, clearly it indicates that about 397,500 students will be writing. These are public schools. And if you take that number aside, and if you add the private schools, these are huge investments that the government has made into the lives of these students, taking into consideration the development of human resource capital of this country of ours. Now, given what has happened now, I don't think that we can just say that it just happened out of the blue. In fact, I have been reflecting about since 3 days ago, since we have this particular encounter, since these things started happening. Once upon a time, or for some time now, you realize that some people go on radio, some people also go on, many other places. They say things, do things, and they get away with it. Look, if you take our country as a whole, you realize that the students learn from these people, because the students look up to us who are adults as role models. And the things we do and the things we say, they emulate them. But even the Bible says that faith cometh by hearing, faith cometh by hearing. So the things they hear us do, they emulate them. Now to the substantive issues. If you look at the video footage, the student made some claims. And for me, these things should remain as allegations until proven beyond reasonable doubt. The first one is that, yes, I think giving out the past questions to them, it is not a bad thing. In fact, all of us that went to school, in fact, you always need the past questions to prepare you. It enables you to know what is expected of you, as to how you are supposed to answer the questions, among other things. So it is not a bad thing. But as to whether somebody promised somebody or promised them that the questions, or they should expect that some of the questions will come from the past questions, that should be an issue that should be investigated. And
that surprises you a lot, right? Let me bring in Dr. Yaw Adutwum, who is also on the line with us. Doc, the students are on rampage. They're destroying school properties and they're beating up invigilators. I'm sure this has come to your attention. What is your ministry doing about this situation?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Now, I want to say a very good evening to your viewing audience, and also say good evening to those the other panelists. I just want to say this evening that the vast majority of our students are doing the right thing. The few who are engaged in aberrant behavior ought to be condemned, and they have to be condemned. And Ghana Education Service have assured that they are going to make sure that those students are brought to book. And all that I will say to the students is that when you happen to be in your final year writing WASSCE, the last thing you want is to engage in more practices and get yourself caught up in a situation where your future will be held in a balance. So I want to advise them just to be very careful at this time, because they find themselves caught up in the web of indiscipline. They're going to be dealt with. But I want you to know that some of these more practices has been going on. Well, I could tell you that it has been happening in some places, and they've been cracking the whip for the most part. And you should also know that they've done a very good job determining where more practices have taken place and counseling, examination results, and all those things. They do it very well. But I also want WAEC to up their game. There are best practices that you can use to stamp out any attempt at more practice. When students are sitting in a room and there are about 10 versions of the same test with the same level of difficulty, and they know that they cannot, even if they are sitting there to somebody, they cannot look at their question paper, and that question 20 may be my question 15. They will go there with no expectation of teaching whatsoever. So they need to up their game and make sure we can stamp out this expectation of cheating once and for all. There shouldn't be any expectation.
Let me get your mood on this one. And of course, Thomas Musa from NAT made the point, and he says if you listen to the students carefully, it looks as if they were promised something and they have been disappointed. Were they promised something?
I don't think the teachers that I know who teach high school will promise their students that I'm going to go over past questions and therefore don't study anything outside the past question. I think the deputy of NAGRAT also said something. I think he's a science teacher. And he said he flipped through the questions that came, and they all came from past questions anyway. And you see, the good news is this. When you saw those students shouting and screaming, it wasn't students across the country, students of a few schools that were doing what they were doing. And I think they shouldn't take the shine from the vast majority of students who have done the right thing. I met a parent yesterday whose daughter called her and said the exams was so easy. The integrated science was so easy. So the bottom line is this. The vast majority of our students have done the right thing. We need to congratulate them, and we need to encourage them to go ahead and do the right thing and complete the exams and move on to our universities. And those who do not follow the rules and want to go on rampage, Ghana Education Service will deal with them. But I want you to know that the vast majority of our students have done well. Teachers have prepared them well. I also commend headmasters who are saying you are not in my school. You can cheat here. I'll follow the rules.
I'm looking forward to a drastic decision that would lead to, you know, letting some of these things away from WAEC or WASSCE, because we don't have to encourage this kind of things. But let me bring in Jacob from NAGRAT. Jacob, how do we resolve some of these issues? It's really, really not pleasant.
Not at all, my sister. I think Musa made a very good point that we parents, politicians, we have to watch the way we interact with the larger majority, so that these students are looking at us or looking up to us and doing some of these things. Because these videos that we saw, I mean, you find it very unpalatable. You cannot even imagine a student at SHS making those remarks. So I will plead that we parents, teachers, politicians, we should watch the way we interact in our society to guide the youth.
I'm grateful for your time. Jacob ANABA is Vice President of NAGRAT. Thomas MUSA is also General Secretary of NAT. And Dr. Yaw Adutwum is the Deputy Education Minister in charge of second cycle schools. And of course, the Ghana Education Service in the last few hours has issued a statement, and it says management of the Ghana Education Service is appalled by scenes of videos making rounds showing students who are not only demonstrating across, also with gross indiscipline and making unfortunate comments. Any distraction of the school properties will be surcharged against the culprits established to be involved, and management of the GES further wishes to assure all law-abiding students to go about their normal studies and activities and know that the authorities will support them to go through the examination successfully. And this was signed by Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa, who is Director General of the Ghana Education Service.